Welcome to the Big Mike Fun Podcast, where you learn about advanced wealth building strategies from real estate investing to creating massive ROI and secured retirement profits. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, grab a notepad, and lean in. Because Big Mike has got the mic, starting now.
Welcome to the Big Mike Fun Podcast. I'm the Big Mike Zlotnik. Today, it's my distinct privilege to have Pat Precourt as a guest on the podcast. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Mike. How you doing? Welcome, man.
Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate that. Pat comes from cold Cromwell, Connecticut. I'm in New York City. You're in Connecticut. It's a little bit colder over there. And Pat is the brother from Collective Genius Mastermind. He's actually part of the leadership team. And he's the people's leader. That's the best way to describe him. So he's also an MMA fighter and a gym operator, a couple of gyms, in fact. So it's really a pleasure to have you, Pat. Can we talk a little bit about the human factor of everything? You're the people's leader, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on. You're running a couple of businesses, and you're a people leader in CG, and you're running gyms. So let's talk a little bit about the human factor, the leadership of individual leadership, and how it makes a difference.
Sure, absolutely. We can dive into this so many different angles, Mike. So let's use our gym as an example, right? We have 24, 25 human beings that work in the gym business with us, right? There's a lot going on, and each one of them is a unique individual without exception. And no doubt in any business that you run, if you're doing your job, you're attracting talent, right?
That's right.
You're attracting people that are driven, hardworking, inspired, that constantly want to go. When you put that many minds together with that type of drive, needless to say, not everything always works out perfectly, right?
That's right.
So one of the challenges I see, we'll call it in the business owner realm, entrepreneur realm, leadership realm, right, is how do you corral awesomeness, right? In other words, if you had a whole room of followers that simply you gave them a punch list of things to do and they just did it, that's easy. The challenge is there's nothing being created. There's no conspiring of minds to be bigger, to be better. You're the sole curator of everything, and therefore the people underneath you, they might as well be machines. They're no more valuable to you than a machine getting the job done. And in my opinion, our job as leaders is to look at it completely different, to put people underneath us, side by side with us, that aren't machines. They're there to get a task done, but more importantly, to create and to collectively build something that's much better than we could ever do on our own.
So if I hear you correctly, what you're suggesting is you don't want to have employees. You want to have mini leaders working for you too. You want to inspire them, and you want to develop them into leaders of their own. You want to help them be a lot more than just a person on a job following instructions, but be a small leader on their own. Is that what you're saying? Is that the vision?
Without exception. I want them to look at what other people qualify as problems. I want them to look at the same scenario and see it as a challenge and an opportunity. A challenge is, and it needs to be solved. An opportunity, and the solving process will create a whole new line of thinking, open up a whole new door or window that wasn't open momentarily ago, right? That's who I want on our team. And quite honestly, I found a few things, Mike, that help create that context for development in the team. And it's one of the things that kind of separates the, at least a definition-wise, of leadership and management, if you don't mind me going down this path for a second.
Yeah, right? What's the difference between management of your team versus managing them versus leading them? What's the difference?
Perfect. And make no mistake, every organization needs management and it needs leadership.
That's right.
Let's not, so this isn't saying one is better or worse than the other. You need them both. The challenge is, as entrepreneurs, as we get good at doing something, right? Whatever it is, we get good at making shoes, right? Shoes will really become a great shoemaker. Our idea of building a business typically is to hire more people that stack underneath us, and then they do exactly like we did. We just teach them to try to do what we did, but we're still the it's like a linear type of leadership, which really is just management. We tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and they do it because after all, who can do it better than us? The difference between management and leadership is very simple. Management focus on results, growing results. Leadership focus on growing people.
That's a brilliant way to put it. That's truly brilliant way to put it.
And both are needed, Mike, right? Make no mistake.
Yes.
But if all you do is focus on growing results and you use people to do so, you're turning those people into little machines. You're cutting off their creativity. Meaning you can never outgrow your own frame of thought. So here's the difference. Leadership, about growing people. Example, there's a job to be done. We agree on the outcome. You and I come to terms on exactly the definition of the outcome of the job. After that, I step aside. I empower you to do it your way, when you want to do it, as long as it meets these standards. And what that does, it gives you the autonomy to tap into your creativeness. You're unique, special, unlike anyone else. And if you try to do it my way, you can't tap into your awesomeness. If I say, Mike, use all of your uniqueness, your authenticity, get the job done any way you want, because now you've created a whole other way, possibly, probably a better way than I would have done it in the first place to get the exact same result. Does that kind of make sense?
Oh, it makes great sense. I think of it the same way. I try to manage for results, not for time. Most managers just want to see people working in their job, the time, and they spend the time doing the job of the company instead of browsing the internet or doing something else. But what you're suggesting is give people a goal and manage to that goal. If they meet the goal and they do it different from your way, it could be a better way. So that's a great way to manage people. I concur. I concur with you 100%.
So there's another piece to it too. And again, I like to say, and it's good as entrepreneurs to actually make the shift in the hat we're wearing at the moment, right? Because when we're doing this, we're stepping out of management, we're focusing on growing people, right?
Right.
Like I'm creating an environment for you to be you. Don't try to be me. I say, give me a famous painter that's painted a great painting in history. Name one.
Michelangelo.
I suck at painting, and I can never paint the way he paints. But here's the truth of it. If I were to paint a painting of this tree I see right outside my window here, Mike, and I put my heart and soul into it, he could never paint my painting as good as I did.
Right.
Impossible. Because it's unique and special to me. And it may suck by everybody else's terms and definitions, but it's still my painting and he can never replicate it. For us to expect our team to replicate what we do in the way that we do it is like expecting some painter to replicate my painting the way I painted it. Impossible, setting them up for failure. But if we change it a little, say, listen, I don't need you to paint this tree the way I paint it. I need you to make a brilliant painting of that tree your way. Now you're free to tap into your authenticity and create this magical work of art, one that I couldn't pull off because I suck at painting. Kind of make sense?
Makes great sense. Let's segue a little bit into the gym operation. This is great, but I wanted to talk a little bit about running the gym, operating the gym. I know gym is not necessarily real estate, but I love the business. I've invested in one of your gyms. I greatly believe in you and your cause. But I wanted to ask you a couple of things about what defines the success of a gym. So this monetary success, there are metrics of gym operation. Can you give us some basic key metrics that are important for any gym? And I'm not an expert. I've been thinking, it depends on the type of a gym. In New York City, they work very differently. Square footage is much smaller. Is there dollars per square foot of revenue? Is there another metrics? What are the good metrics to measure the success of a gym?
Sure. So I'll give you, let's start with the metrics, right? But I'm going to tell you, let's go from metrics to magic sauce, right? Two different things. Metrics and numbers. You're a number guy. A lot of people listening to this call are numbers guys. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the numbers that you have to watch in gym is your gross revenue per square foot, right?
Gross revenue per square foot.
Gross revenue per square foot. And you have a gross cost per square foot, which includes everything from your triple net lease or your mortgage if you own a building, lights, power, all that kind of stuff. You know, your overhead, so to speak, right? To make a gym model work, and mind you, the profit margin typically in a gym business, you don't want to drop below 20%, and to hover around 30% means you're doing well. You got a well-oiled machine, right? Yeah. Putting all those numbers together, a target. And if you meet this target annually, shy of something being really upset, meaning like, I don't know, a partner embezzling money from you, shy of something weird like that, you'll have a successful business. Target is $75 per square foot gross annual revenue.
Well, isn't it different depending where you're at?
It's different, but it's different in that your costs go up. Manhattan, right? Yeah, you may pay $50 a foot, right? Yeah. For a small place where I'm only paying $7 a foot, no doubt. But your membership goes up relative to it as well. The cost of going to the gym, so the numbers at the end of the day scale evenly, if that makes sense.
So it's $75, I guess, gross profit, right? It's not gross revenue; it's a gross profit.
Sorry, gross profit. Did I say gross revenue?
I think it's something like that. Yeah, I thought it was gross profit, but it's the revenue minus the cost per square foot. Got it. Okay, that's a brilliant statistic. What's the financial metrics? Is there a happiness measure of your folks? How do you measure satisfaction of members? Maybe that's another way to do it. Type of classes you run. Their satisfaction with the programs. Are you running an MMA class and they're loving it? How do you do that?
Yeah, so there's a few other metrics that get into that department. The most significant one is stick rate. How long your clients stay as a member of your gym, right? And gyms are categorized from micro gyms to studios to boutique gyms, small, medium, large, extra large, grand, all that kind of stuff. But middle of the road size gym where we're at, 14,000 square feet. An average stick rate is typically 3 to 4 months, Mike. Which you're like, wow, that's not that long.
That's so low.
Yes. Our stick rate is almost 14 months, which is a barometer for me that says that people like that they like what we're doing for them. They like coming to the gym. And that brings in a whole nother aspect of the gym business, which is not unique to the gym business, but it's the magic sauce side of it, right? You've heard of the cheers effect. People, cheers effect, where you go to a bar because people know your name, right? There's a big aspect of that in the gym business if you choose to embrace it, which starts to appealing to the people. The moment they walk through the door, you embrace them, engage them with a smile and their name, and immediately triggers a chemical reaction in their brain, makes them feel good. So now the habit of showing up at the gym, forget about the workout. They know by showing up, walking through the door, they're going to feel good. It becomes a subconscious process that pushes them to return, to want to be at the gym. Take that a little further. Create community aspect of it. Build support teams within the gym. We're very much a class-driven organization. We do over 400 classes a month, right? But we encourage people to look out for one another. To say, hey, you know what? You've been here steady for 4 months. I haven't seen you lately. Drop somebody an email or reach out to them on Facebook. We take our gym model, the friendships that we've created in the gym space inside those walls, and then we take them outside of the walls as well for special occasions. So that now the people that you've grown to like and trust, right? You can do something with them outside of the gym. It might be renting out a back room at one of our local sports bars for an event that we're going to see on TV. It might be on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of the winter in Connecticut going to an indoor soccer, renting out the soccer place, and getting people together who've never played soccer their entire life. Has nothing to do with it. It's being part of something. which is a big part of that's a big part of why people return to our gym. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes absolutely phenomenal sense. I have to say that is, you're engaging, you befriend them, they feel you know their name, you know who they are, they feel they have friends in the gym, and that's the big difference. They are excited to come to the gym because they're going to see their friends and people are going to know who they are. Versus, I remember I no longer have membership in any of the gyms here, but I remember we used to have New York Sports Club. I'd go in, just check in your ID, go out. Nobody knows who you are. You don't know anybody. It's really boring to come in. Feels terrible. That's the reason why I do martial arts, because people know who you are. With martial arts, you know pretty much everybody there, and they know you, and it makes a big difference.
And you'll hear the term all the time thrown on our gym that it's our other family,
Yeah.
and that's what it becomes. I don't want to use the word of safe because it's an improper word, but it's a comfortable place to come to. And add to the fact, guess what? Everybody there's shooting for the same thing, and it's not to be a martial artist. It's not to be great at spinning or our version of CrossFit or great in yoga. None of that stuff. Although we do all that stuff, the one thing they have in common, Mike, and this is like the common denominator that we see when you come in. Your goal every time you come through our doors is to outperform yourself from the day before. That's it.
Self-improvement. You're not competing with anybody else. You're competing with yourself.
Boom. And that's such a huge understanding and takeaway in the gym business. It's very easy to get caught up comparing yourself to others. I mean, no doubt, Mike, you and I have compared ourselves to other people, other businesses. We've all done it. Make no mistake, right? But the truth is, the idea of competition, which is it's an American thing, and built into our DNA from the day we're born, right? But comparing ourselves and competing with others can be very destructive in our progress. Go back to the idea that if that painter wanted to compete with me in painting my painting, he would lose. He can't paint my painting. The best he could do is come up with a replication of it that was almost as good as it, but he can't replace my magic. That's a challenge with competition. I see that in the gym business all the time. This is funny. We have other gyms sending people kind of on the QT to kind of spy on our gym. And I can pick these people out a mile away. I'm like, my doors are wide open. Come in, measure our space, check out our lighting, look at our sound tracks, copy our equipment. It doesn't matter. Because what matters is our magic sauce. That you can't take. That you can't steal.
Yeah. Every person creates their own masterpiece. I agree with you. Competition is good, but in reality, you're not really competing with anybody. You're really competing with yourself. You're improving yourself. That's ultimately the goal. While we're on this subject, I wanted to chat a little bit more about another great place. So gym, the way you're running gym is greatly unique, but I wanted to talk about the Collective Genius a little bit. And I've been coming for many, many years. I love that mastermind. And I wanted to kind of hear your perspective on the power of masterminds in general. I think it's phenomenal. We feel like a CG family. That's how when I post a message, I post a message CG family. The same as a gym. It's your gym family. So you feel closeness. It enhances you personally. But I just want to hear your perspective. What do you think about the mastermind? The Collective Genius is very focused on real estate. But let's talk a little bit in general. What's the power of a mastermind? What's the benefits? And
yeah, no doubt. And yeah, it's focused on real estate, but as we've all known, in order to grow in real estate, you got to grow as a human being.
That's
and
right.
Growing as a human being means personally, relationships, physically, your health, well-being, emotional, mental, all that stuff has to come up together, right? Yeah. And, at Collective Genius, I'm absolutely blessed to be a facilitator, be able to stand in front of the room and help allow the cream to rise to the top of the pile here. The power of a mastermind, Mike, is the idea that we've been talking about this now the whole show. Everybody is given the ability to see one challenge, but apply their unique perspective to solving it. When you put 25 or 30 people in a room with 25 or 30 unique perspectives, instead of just your one, multiply it by 30. Now condense time down to 25-minute window to solve a problem. Multiply it times 30, and it's exponential, the results we get out of it. Now repeat that same activity 8 times a day for 3 days in a row. You can see just doing the numbers, the power of a mastermind. There's the mastermind's been around. Dale Carnegie was probably one of the ones who made it a thing, right? In his writings and his descriptions of it, and the way he utilized it back in the day. And there's been many masterminds that have come and gone since then. To me, to call something a mastermind doesn't make it a mastermind. To put it in a context that allows all the individuals' unique, authentic ideas to rise to the top for a common good or solving a common problem, that's what makes a mastermind a mastermind. And very few that I've ever participated in, Mike, have had the ability to do that. Collective genius nails that.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I wanted to point out is, and you did say this very well, just the format of the mastermind, how we get together typically Monday or Tuesday, and every person gets their 30 minutes. And it takes work to present your case in 30 minutes. There's the good old expression, if you want me to talk for 2 hours, I'm ready to do it now. If you want me to talk for 30 minutes, I need a few hours of prep. If you want me to talk for 2 minutes, I need 2 weeks of prep. So CG gives folks around 30 minutes of their own case presentation and getting the feedback. But what I really like is the giving element of CG Mastermind. Yeah. It's that every person is giving the presenter feedback on their case, on their study, on their need, on their challenges. So it's all about giving. It's really that giving, I think, enriches people's self, because they are thinking about how to help another person much more than they're thinking how do they help themselves. So that whole concept of helping others. And while they do this, they're learning what other people are facing. So it's a group learning by seeing, it's almost like a group intelligence. You're seeing what other people challenges are facing, and you're helping them solve them. And that helps you avoid the same challenge in the future yourself if you don't have it today.
Yeah, no doubt. One thing I learned in the personal development space, Mike, is that it's impossible to help someone else out, to help someone else up, and not get on that same elevator ride yourself. In other words, the more you give, the more you get. That's that old cliche, all ships rise on a rising tide. It's the opposite of a scarcity mindset. It's a mindset of abundance, that the more you give, the more you get back, and that the universe is ruthlessly abundant and ruthlessly generous. All you have to do is ask of it. You ask of it by giving out. It's a very simple formula.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, and I really love your role at CG. You are the people's leader. You have to facilitator. You have to run a group. But the difference in you and other folks, you are naturally the people's developer. You develop people. You develop talent. You develop individual leadership. And I appreciate all your thoughts here because it's great. I've had guests who talk about different markets, different financial elements. But you're the first guest. Well, not the first, but I've had other folks who commented on this space. But you are the specialist in helping folks be better themselves. As you said, you can't be a great real estate investor without being sort of a better person. You almost have to improve your leadership skills before you can improve your business.
You can only take it so far. And you've heard the old cliche, what got you here won't get you there, That's right. If you want to grow, there's all aspects of you personally that got to grow as well.
But I appreciate it. We are tight on time. I want to stick with the schedule. One important question. Is there a book that you're reading now, or book you recommend? What's your favorite book or your current read? You got a bunch of books behind you right now, so
and I could dive into any of those. There's a few books I'm reading. One though that really it contextually adds some intel to some of the thoughts that are going on. It's a book called The Matrix. God, I wish I had the author in front of me. But The Matrix breaks down, Mike, the way our brain works and really analyzes the idea of the law of attraction and why people get like, vision boards wrong and things like that. And really what it comes down to is some basic core components that, we attract everything we have in our life. We've attracted into it. We have to accept that truth to be true, or the rest of the discussion is moot, right? But then it goes on to the fact that you can attract anything you want. But simply creating a vision board and staring at pictures, as many people found out, ain't enough. Right. Some people are like, but I got a vision board and I want it so bad. Wanting it, putting it on a vision board is not enough. So and I'm going to summarize an entire book in like just a couple words here, just to make it simple, right? The law of attraction is triggered by 3 simple things, right? You got to define it in a way that you can talk about it. You've got to think about it, so you've got to intellectualize the thought so that it starts triggering an emotion that attaches to it, that connects the mind and the body. And finally, and this is the big one, this is the one like that so many of us drop the ball on, you got to take action. You got to take that first step. You got to move and then keep moving no matter what. But Pat, what if I don't know the first step? You still got to take the first step. Here's the thing, the universe, like your GPS, like if you leave the driveway, Mike, and you programmed in your GPS, you got it right. You put in where you're going, and that's to know your outcome, right?
Yeah.
You put that in there, you start driving. What happens when you start driving the wrong way? The thing corrects you.
Recomputes.
And corrects you. It recomputes, and so does the universe. You just got to trust the process. If you're clear where you want to go and you're buying into it, take the action. The universe will turn you back around when you get off course. Got to believe in a process.
Yeah, I love it, Pat. What's my favorite expression? It is very similar to this, but it's almost hilarious. You ever shot a rifle?
Oh yeah.
So what do they say? Ready, aim, fire. But the right expression is ready, fire, aim, or re-aim and re-aim and re-aim until you get it. If you don't take action, if you don't fire, you'll never. So if you just keep aiming and never making a shot, then even the shot is not perfect, but that's how you learn. You need to take action and then correct your course.
Just listen to the feedback. It's
exactly
there the entire way, right?
Yeah, this is great, Pat. I greatly appreciate this. Thank you kindly for coming on the podcast. For the listeners, if they wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach you? Obviously, if you don't want to give out any personal information, that's totally fine. But if there's a website they want to go to, they want to check out your gym or something. If they're listening,
the easiest way to find me is just to Google my name, right? Patrick Precourt. My direct email is simple. It's Pat and then Patrick, my full name, and then Precourt. Spelled as it sounds, PRECOURT.com. Pat@PatrickPrecourt.com.
Perfect. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. And it's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Equally pleasure here, brother.
Thank you for listening to the Big Mike Fund Podcast. To receive your copy of Mike's How to Choose a Smart Real Estate Fund book, head to BigMikeFund.com or visit Amazon and type Mike Zlotnik. Keep listening and keep investing Big Mike style. See you on the next episode.